Welcome to MultiGen Mindset Institute. My name is Joshua Crampton, and today we are discussing the law of forgiveness, how it applies both inwardly and outwardly. When the law of forgiveness is applied inwardly, it's towards ourselves, forgiving ourselves for where we didn't show up, forgiving ourselves for how we showed up, forgiving ourselves for the mistakes and the miscalculations and the judgments that we've taken in our lives. The outward expression of forgiveness is towards others. It's those who have harmed us, who have not shown up themselves the way that we expected them to show up. You know, a lot of times we put these expectations on others. We expect a certain person to show up a certain way, and then when they don't, we judge them, we label them, and we hold it against them. And every time we calculate something against somebody, it's also pointing a hand back at ourselves. They say that every time you point your one finger at somebody else, there's 3 other fingers pointing back at you. And then in the Bible, we hear that Jesus said that before you accuse anybody else of anything that they've done or not done, you first need to and must take the log out of your own eye. This is a dangerous game, this thing of labeling and guilt. You know, and the world is a place where we've all come to grow and to become better people. That is the reason of being on this earth, is the growth of our soul. You know, in the book of Thoth, it discusses that freedom only comes to man when man realizes that the only thing that matters is truly the growth of his soul. In other words, whether you have a car accident, you lose a job, you lose a relationship, whatever mistake you might have made, whether it was you drinking or driving, or you cheated in the relationship, or whatever happened, what it boils down to is how that thing can grow your soul. In truth, the grace that God gives us to not give us more than we can bear in one single moment is a grace to keep our back from breaking, because in truth, if it was true that everything was our teacher, and it was true that every bad experience was there to mature us in some way, then our lives would be nothing but full of pain and mistakes and misinterpretations. I mean, if truly this life that we're living is so that we can grow as a soul and mature into true love as a soul, and the mechanism for growth was pain and turmoil, then wouldn't it be of God's best interest to load our lives up with as much pain and turmoil as humanly possible so that we can continue to grow and grow and grow? You know, it's the look in the Father's eye as he goes to reprimand his son, where he doesn't want to. He loves his son. But he knows that if he doesn't reprimand his son will never grow. He'll keep repeating the same mistakes. And the father looks full of love at his son and says, "Son, I love you, but I don't love what you've done." And it's the love of a father that the universe shows upon us. That's what we live under, the law of grace, the law of forgiveness. It's the love of a father. It's the love of a father who says, "I will complete what I started in you. I will not abandon you. I will not leave you to your own devices. I will be there for you." And then when the angry son turns his back and storms off, the father doesn't stop loving. The father doesn't hold it against the young boy, because the father was also a young boy once himself. It's the grace that we receive that allows us to give grace to others. It's the forgiveness that we receive that allows us to give forgiveness to others. There is a circle of life that we are experiencing and walking in every single day. And it's that circle of life that causes the law of forgiveness to be so powerful. I remember reading the story of Jesus meeting the prostitute at the well, and she's lamenting about her past mistakes, and she's lamenting about who she was, and she's lamenting about who she's been and who she is. And Jesus looks at her and says, "As far as from the east is to the west are your sins removed from you. Go forth and sin no more." You see, Jesus was concentrated on the future of what could be. When he looked at a person, he didn't see who they were at the moment. He saw the future version. of who they are growing into be. So Jesus never spoke to people about their past. He never spoke about their past. He always spoke about the vision of what was to come. The future kingdom of God reigning on earth, people being forgiven of their sins and walking on water and healing the sick. As he said, the things in which I have done, you, my followers, will do more. This is the law of forgiveness. You will see Jesus enact the law of forgiveness upon those who crucified him at that point in time. And you notice that Jesus looked up from the cross and he looked up into the heavens and he said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Jesus interceded for those men who put him on the cross by asking God to forgive them on his behalf. And this is what you must do for those who have wronged you. You pray to God to forgive them. You pray to God for that person to be forgiven. Why? There's an algorithm that's happening. Life is a chemical and spiritual algorithm. And you are a life giver. You are a life breather, and you breathe life into things, and then you give life to things and you take life away. If you decide that you're going to write a book and you start imagining that book and you sit down and you write chapter 1 on a page and you're breathing life into that work. The moment that you give up on that book and you give up on that vision, and the moment that you say, oh, I can't do it, I can't be an author, and you give up on the book, that book has now died. You could have breathed life into that book. You breathe life into your relationships that you have. You breathe love and life into the visions that you have and the businesses that you're building and the things that you're going to accomplish. The law of forgiveness is here for you to enact, not only towards yourself, but also towards others. You remember, when you read the Lord's Prayer, it does say, Father, forgive me of my sins, and forgive those who have trespassed against me. Because when we label and when we judge and we hold somebody accountable for something that they've done or not done, we are enacting a chemical and spiritual reaction in this earth which keeps us tied in and locked in to certain circumstances with people. There's a dance that you're doing in this universe. Your life is a dance and a song to God. He wants you to sing the same song that his life sung. You let your light shine. Let your love shine. You know, I had an uncle one time who called me because there had been a party at his house. My uncle, Pete. And I remember that he called me and accused me of drinking all the alcohol at his house. Apparently his son and my brother and a few other people had went over to his house while he was on vacation, drank up all the alcohol and had a party, and he was angry and he was mad and he probably felt taken advantage of. He called me and he was certain that I was the one who drank the particular liquor. Instead of getting angry, instead of getting defensive, I got quiet and I got calm. And I said, Uncle Pete, you have done a lot for me and my family over the years. And if you truly, I did not drink your alcohol, but if you truly believe that I owe you, then come to my place of work and I will hand you the cash that you feel that I owe you. But I did not drink your alcohol and I did not drink your liquor. And that silenced him. He sat on the phone not knowing what to say. Because when somebody's angry and they're accusing you and they're labeling you, they expect a certain response, right? The power of forgiveness is I forgave my uncle before he accused me, because the moment he accused me, I knew he needed forgiveness. And so I said, I forgive you. I didn't drink your alcohol. It wasn't me. But if you feel that I owe you money, come and get it. I will pay you. That disarmed my uncle. When we use a soft answer, it generally turns away wrath. And the art of de-escalation, when there's a conflict between two people, the one person is mad, they're angry, they're hurt, they're full of emotion, there's something that was done, they were crossed, they were wronged in some kind of a way, and they want justification, they want a responsibility, they want somebody to be responsible for what it is that they're experiencing. Well, if you resist that, if you resist it, you play into the urge to argue and to fight, then you won't have a soft answer in the time of need. But if you have a soft heart, and you know yourself have been forgiven for more than what you deserve, then it enables you to have that same love and forgiveness towards others. And it's granting forgiveness to others that frees us from the thing experienced. They say that you only truly heal from a thing when you come for full circle and you have now learned what that thing was here to teach you. And that completes a cycle. There's cycles in life. Everything is a cycle. This human life is a cycle. You're born, you go through a cycle, and then you die. It's a cycle. There's a cycle to an event. A karmic event has a cycle, a beginning and an end. Your goal, your objective, is to end negative cycles. Because when a cycle ends, it opens up the earth for a new cycle to begin. We often go through our relationships fighting about the same things over and over and over again. I remember my ex-fiancée, Crimson, holding something against me that, happened 5 years ago in our relationship. But she wasn't able to forgive me, and the trust was broken, and there was still a label that he's somebody who lies, or whatever it is that was in her heart against me at the time, and she could never move on. And because of not moving on, there was this conflict between us instead of peace. The precedent for peace, the thing that you need for peace and harmony and alignment is love and forgiveness. When we forgive others, we unlock levels of maturity that has been waiting to show up in our heart. You can tell when somebody's fully healed from something, not because they can laugh about it or make light of it, but because there's a wisdom that was gleaned from the thing they experienced. A truly wise man looks at every day and every moment as a new opportunity and a new life and a new chance to show up differently than the way that he's been showing up. Every moment is a new chance for you to be a different person. And with the law of forgiveness, this is enabled. We're enabled to forgive ourselves and be forgiven for how we showed up. And the law of forgiveness is there to give you a new chance. God's grace is new each morning. God isn't looking to label. He's not looking to permanently criminalize you. He's looking to see where you can take responsibility and to be a better person. He's looking to see where it is that you can show up differently and where it is that you're willing to say, I made a mistake. Because that is the show sign of a king. A person that can say, hey, this is where I messed up. This is where I could do better. This is where I have failed you. A man that can say that is a man that can be held accountable because he can be trusted. We want you to understand the law of forgiveness because it enacts the law of grace. The law of forgiveness is here to serve you.